The following story is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to real people or places is purely coincidental. Welcome to Dusk Reach. St. Hollow's Orphanage stood alone at the end of a narrow, deteriorated road, surrounded by tall, motionless trees. No nearby town. No street signs. No utility lines. Travis Goodway had visited abandoned places before, but this building felt different. Not forgotten, but deliberately ignored. The windows were intact, yet dark. The front doors showed no signs of forced entry, as if no one had ever tried to escape. Even the air felt restrained, heavy, as though the building itself was holding its breath, waiting for someone to arrive and notice it again. If you're already feeling uneasy, take a moment to subscribe to Dusk Reach, because some places don't want to be remembered. Inside the orphanage, Travis Goodway found rows of metal filing cabinets still standing against the walls. Most folders had rotted away, their contents reduced to dust. But one document appeared again and again, copied by hand, pinned to walls, taped to doors, rewritten in different inks across decades. It contained only one rule: children must not cry. No explanation followed. No list of punishments. Just that sentence, repeated obsessively, as if the building itself was afraid of forgetting it. The dormitories were located on the second floor, at the end of a long corridor lined with identical doors. When Travis Goodway pushed one of them open, he froze. Rows of small iron beds filled the room, perfectly aligned, each with a thin blanket folded tight at the corners. There was no dust on the mattresses. No signs of decay. Shoes were neatly placed beneath the beds, paired and facing outward, as if waiting to be worn again. The room felt preserved, not abandoned, like the children had simply stepped out and were expected back at any moment. If you're starting to feel like something here is wrong, subscribe to Dusk Reach, because some places don't forget who they were meant for. Night fell faster than Travis expected. The orphanage seemed to absorb the remaining daylight, leaving the corridors submerged in shadow. As he stood near the dormitories, he heard a sound rising slowly from the lower floors. It wasn't crying. It was softer, rhythmic, controlled, like dozens of children breathing in unison, carefully measured, as if they had been trained to make as little noise as possible. Travis held his breath, listening, and realized the sound stopped whenever he moved, as though whatever produced it was listening back. The classroom was smaller than Travis expected, with low ceilings and narrow windows placed too high for children to see outside. Old wooden desks were bolted to the floor in perfect rows. The walls, however, were the most disturbing part. Every surface was covered with sentences carved directly into the wood and plaster. "I will not cry. Crying brings them." Some words were shallow and careful. Others were so deeply etched they splintered the wall, as if written during moments of panic. This wasn't discipline. It was training. Would you have followed these rules if you were a child here? Tell us in the comments. And think carefully before answering. Travis discovered references to the orphanage staff in scattered notes. They weren't called caretakers or teachers. They were called listeners. Their role wasn't to stop crying, but to remain close when it happened, to hear what crying attracted, and to make sure it was properly fed. At the end of the main corridor, Travis found the basement door. It wasn't sealed. It wasn't chained. It stood slightly open, breathing cold air upward. Someone had never tried to keep people out, only to make sure something inside was never alone. The basement opened into a wide room. Rows of small iron beds filled the space, far more than the orphanage records ever mentioned. Each mattress was indented, as if the children had never truly left. The air smelled of cold breath and old prayers. Notice something wrong in this room? Leave your theory in the comments. Behind the beds, Travis found a locked cabinet. Inside, dozens of files remained perfectly preserved. Names, dates, notes. Every child listed as never transferred. The last column chilled him. Status, still here. In the chapel beneath the orphanage, Travis finally understood. The children were never abandoned. They were offerings. Their bodies gone, their presence bound to the walls. The building didn't hold ghosts. It consumed them. Travis Goodway was never seen again. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to the channel. And tell me in the comments, do you believe Travis became part of the orphanage?